Okay, so if you've watched my 21 predictions, I would have mentioned I was going to make a video on why I think the safety profession is kind of doomed to fail and what I think we need to become to survive. Let's go. Rebranding Safety. What's up, peeps? Welcome back to Rebranding Safety. Rebranding Safety is the podcast and YouTube channel doing exactly what it says on the tin. We're here to change the perception of health and safety. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss another episode. Why is the health and safety profession doomed to fail? Controversial title, I know. There's a reason why, because I genuinely think this. After 10 years in the profession and after a few years making videos and interviewing some of the brightest minds and the most controversial minds in health and safety, I genuinely think we are going through an identity crisis. And I think that's a good thing. And here's why. I think currently we don't have an identity. I think that safety is such a diverse profession and it's really hard for us to say what we do. My mates think that I just walk around with clipboards, even after years of knowing me and even after all the stuff I do in the spare time to try and explain to people that safety is not like that. They still think I'm that traditional checkboard Charlie, stop work, kind of safety professional, that I don't actually think that many of us actually are like that. So there's still this kind of misconception around what we do. It's kind of like that meme you used to see, what I think I do, what my mum thinks I do, what my mates think I do. In the workplace, we cover so much. There's areas like culture where we cross over with our leaders and with HR. There's areas where we get really technical in safety and we cross over with engineering. One minute we're biologists and chemical experts, the next minute we're working at height, the next minute we're legal experts, and the next minute we're human factors experts. And in essence, we become an expert at so many things that we're in turn not an expert at any of those things. We're a jack of all trades and master of none. I think our educational route into safety has failed us. I think that the way we have been trained doesn't give us any of the skills that we actually need. If you think back to when you did your NEBOSH General or your diploma, for example, it's very traditionally focused, trying to understand all the different types of safety, from working at height to lockout, tag out to confined space. It's very much down that route of jack of all trades, master of none. And also it misses out a hell of a lot of stuff that I've found I needed when I started in this profession. As I've grown through it, I've started to understand actually it's not a really good technical understanding of the ACOPs and the legislation I need, because once you know that, it's all pretty self-explanatory. What I actually need is an understanding of behavioural change, and I actually need an understanding of some of the really technical science around some of the hazards that we deal with. I need a much better understanding of how cultures work. So essentially we're talking about human factors, psychology, behavioural science, sociology. We get given a base understanding of legal expertise, we get given a base level understanding of all of this stuff. Quite regularly I'm referred to as an expert. Here's the health and safety expert, and I quite quickly turn around and say I'm not an expert in any way, shape or form. If anything, what I am at a workplace is a facilitator of experts. I get the right people in the room who have a conversation and I facilitate that conversation. I'm a professional devil's advocate. I exist in the business to challenge, to say, why don't we do it like this? What about this? But there's so much that we can do. There's so much missed potential in our profession. So what do I think our profession should look like? Well, bear with me here. I feel like the generalist safety management should be completely removed from our role, and it should be given to the general managers in the workplace, the people doing safety on the shop floor. Is that not the old safety saying that I'm not here to do safety, you do safety and I just help you do it? I don't do safety. And that's the common traditional argument between management and shop floor and the health and safety professional. So I think we need to do that. And to do that, I think we need to improve the education of those doing roles on the shop floor, the sharp end and the blunt end of business. We need to have a better understanding of safety critical components and processes in our normal education, say for an electrician, for a welder, for an engineer, for a machine operator. They should know the risks inside and out. And frankly, they probably do already. They are the experts in risk, as I say all the time. So for us to get rid of generalists, we need to be able to put that work somewhere else, because we do work. As much as we may not have an identity, there is a lot of work that we do actually do. So then what's left? What do we become? Well, I would love to see us become more specialists. I think that we split over 3 different types of specialists in our profession. I think that we split into a legal / compliance / systems expert, people that absolutely understand the minutiae of the legal system, the compliance for our legislation, specifically for health and safety at work, for ACOPs and so on, and then for international standards such as ISO and British standards, a real technical understanding of the technical requirements within our systems, the legislation, regulations, and approved codes of practice and so on. And then I think we have safety engineers. So these are people that really get down and dirty in the doing of safety on the shop floor. These are people that really understand, say, the components of a machine and the safety critical components of a machine. Not just the guarding, but the real nitty gritty of this stuff. They're much more probably suited to process safety and things like that, where they can engineer a safety process. And then I think we have the cultural or behavioral experts, the people that can really understand how the people work and how people think and how their collective thinks in the workplace and how we can develop a culture. I think because we are these jack of all trades, we're a little bit good at the technical engineering side of things, and we're a little bit good at the legal side of things, and we're a little bit good at the cultural side of things, and then maybe your personal preference takes you in one or more directions. But I think if we split into those 3 areas, say if you have a big business, you add one of each of those, managed by any of them really could become the, you know, the head of safety or the head of risk or whatever you wanted to call it, but then managing those 3 specialists, I think that would be really powerful, especially if you can get the relationship between all 3 of them working collectively with the same ideas and the same agenda, going in the same direction. So instead of 3 people that are generalists at loads of things, you get 3 absolute nailed down experts. And I think the final thing we need to bring all of that together, and this is a shout out to Simon Cassin, who I've recently interviewed on the podcast as part of the Safety 1 and Safety 2 mini-series, and I'll link the podcast in the description below. I think we need an ethics framework, something like the Hippocratic Oath, which really brings it all together, beyond the ethics or codes of practice that we currently have, but something that really gives us that same aim together that we can all go toward. Okay peeps, those are my thoughts around why we have failed and what we should look like in the future. What do you think it should be? Am I way off base? Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next week. Safe.